Basically, a Fireside chat was supposed to be
All
awesome.
right, so we are live. Fireside chat. Sorry that we are late. Let me make the post real quick in Mead Hall.
Woot woot.
I mean announcements. I don't know why I
Hi,
said Mead Hall.
people.
All right. So as far as what we've got on the agenda right now, July calendar is up. We just had Sitrep Sporter Review and the roll call deadline this week. Kind of usual events. I mean, I've been shouting them out every week. I don't know how necessary it is. So of course, still got movie night Friday nights, game night, and Warframe Spearfish Saturday, both 5 Pacific on Saturdays. So that'll be this Saturday the 7th. And on the 9th, the Yarnhearth will be ending at noon PST. So go get those points for your warbands. And
Yay!
yeah, and also new event every other Tuesday hosted by Ducky, Fun with Guns at 6 Pacific is happening, and roll call will be out that same day on the Tuesday, the 10th.
Fun with Guns, what is that?
I believe it's on Running with Rifles, the game, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
It is. It is. It's a co-op game. Damn near infinite amount of players can play all together cooperatively, so it's really fun. That's why we've been playing it.
And I still bought a bunch of copies of it, so if people can't afford.
And you have yet to
small
join
price
us.
tag. Oh man, I've just been busy, man, but I got them.
All right,
That's a suggestion too, wasn't it?
go on, Vest.
Oh, great. Well, that's kind of it for events. I mean, as far as, we've had the Yarnhearth going on. I mean, frankly, I'll be honest, I'm not super happy with how it's gone. I feel like participation has been super low. Something to be said, there's like a huge number of LOAs right now. Like, I feel like a dozen people went on LOA right as the Yarnhearth started, or like right before, right after, which does kind of stink. But I think when you compare it to the Hjor thing, to the House War, obviously it's night and day. Nobody's doing it, which does kind of stink, but I think that's the reality.
I know a couple people said that they were burnt out because it was right off the heels of the House War.
Were they? I tried to wait a little bit, but maybe it was too soon. I mean, the idea was this was still part of the anniversary celebration, sort of, like a month after, but I believe that if people were burnt out.
Too soon.
I know a couple of the people that I talked to, they were either burnt out or they said this is like right as holidays are coming up for, Canada's Independence Day, so I'm gonna go see family, or 4th of July, which just happened, and people are like, I'm gonna go see family or do something else. So I think it was a combination of like LOAs and people were just really burnt out from real life, like summer finally kicking off. So
Most people have been, or a lot of people have been at LOA for this.
For me, I feel like I just don't have the same attachment to my warband as my house, so I don't feel like really participating in it. It's not that important.
Yeah, I was about to suggest, I really don't think that people are burnt out like so much as they kind of like claim to be, because a month afterward is, in terms of like online and video games, stuff like that, is forever. It's really a long time, and at the rate that we process information. And so I feel like it's more of a kind of a warband association thing rather than a house association thing, because everyone, our culture and houses are way more public and way more like, projected onto ourselves than, what we say our warbands are.
A lot older too.
And that's just kind of like the truth that we're dealing with right now.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't doubt some people were burnt out, but I talked to a lot of people asking them how long should I wait, and I feel like I waited long enough for most people to not be burnt out, but I think Newman and Rand are probably right in that. I think this is a symptom of people just don't care about warbands that much right now. And obviously I want them to care, but perhaps, I had hoped perhaps having the warband competition would help people care, but I think probably it's the reverse, in that we have to make people care about this stuff so that they participate.
Well, I mean, it's just not projected to them on a daily basis like houses are. Like, even in our names, we have our families, which, is association with our houses. Just the warbands aren't, like, projected onto them enough, and that we don't have, like, these daily reminders saying, like, oh, you're in this warband, you should be playing with this warband, or associating yourself with it. But every single day, you get the idea that you're supposed to be associating yourself with your house.
Yeah, I think that's really true, and we did look at that thing you can actually see with Eodor's name and Kusiag's, where we had those runes and people's names. Maybe worth bringing up again, but I think pretty conclusively we felt in the all thing and as officers that the runes and the names wasn't really good because they get cut off all the time. People didn't know what they meant, and it didn't feel like a great solution. But that was the one thought I had, is that was something we tried previously, was the runes to show which great company you're in or which warband.
Okay, so this might seem a little radical and a little far out there, but hear me on this one. What if we changed our color system? So instead of having your colors match your house, we start making our colors match your warbands.
At this point, I'm thinking this is what I think. What is really the point of the warband? Because what I think is it's practically just house version 2.
Yeah,
that's what I'm
agree with
thinking.
that.
I'm with that guy.
Well, so the idea is that we need we have our ranking structure, and it's supposed to be very strict and based on what you do actively for WA. Houses, you can be like Lord or Earl of a house just kind of by being there, basically. I mean, yeah, like we try to pick the best candidate and whatnot, but houses are by genealogy and by lineage. You're just kind of stuck in it. That's just kind of how it works. It's like it's like your own like genetics or whatever, I guess is how I think of it. You're just kind of stuck with it. But warbands are supposed to be a venue for the chain of command to be implemented and for ranks to be there. So the best people get promoted and get put in leadership positions, and it's a way for WA to stay organized in that way. So some people have suggested we have house or family platoons or things, but the problem with that is that you don't really get to choose who gets promoted or whatnot. Like people are in high-ranking house positions. You know, not like people might be made the Earl because they're the only one left in their family, for example. So it's not like necessarily the same type of system. But that's the idea behind warbands, is to make these cohesive units the way platoons used to be. Platoons were game specific, but we felt that because people play so many different games, we can't really be game specific anymore. So let's make platoons, but instead try to forge an identity a different way. While at the same time, they're not like lineage based like houses. They're supposed to be a vehicle for the ranks and the chain of command, basically.
And that's one of the reasons why I've been like reiterating myself in the sit reps that we want to have these more positions in our warband so that people are more easily able to identify their warbands and associate themselves with that. And that's why I want to have these different paths that people can take, and so that it becomes more warband orientated.
Maybe some sort of incentive should be
I feel like
implemented to be part of the warband get-togethers, because it just seems like kind of optional at this point, like very casual optional.
I feel like having
the
them
issue
separated
we
by
have with
games
Warband right now
makes them.
is that we're exceeding the limit of members that we're supposed to have, and we haven't like broken them up into new warbands so that they're more focused. Because like Un's Unfavor, again, a lot of guys here are Warframe players, but then there's a few random people like myself who don't play Warframe. We're never gonna like scrap the paddle, that much.
Unfortunately, that was never my intention. As I've said many times before, I wanted my warband to be, multi-gaming, not the Warframe guys.
Yeah,
It just ended up that way, and I mean, yes, the warbands are a bit flawed right now. They're not working the way that Vest wanted them to, but it was entirely unintentional that the Unsfavored became the Warframe guys. And I know it kind of affects, you and Lotioned, that you don't have any association with us because you don't play the game that we all play.
Well, that's like, because back when we were creating the system, during like December and January, we were supposed to set like a cap of around like 8 to 15 members, and soon as we got to that like limit, we were supposed to break up the warbands so that they are more like the people there are more tightly knit. But right now, I'm seeing that we have like 20, 30 people per warband. It's like we're far exceeding the limits, and maybe we just need to break them up and have people who are closer to each other, like.
I think that's a good point, but on the other hand, I feel like we don't have 20 people that care about the warband. I feel like it's a couple people in each warband that care about it. So even though we have a lot of people, I think most of them still don't care. I don't know if getting rid of some of them will affect that or not.
80 to 90% of the people on this server just want to play their game with their buddies that play their game. That's why I said we have to have some sort of incentive or something extra to be a part of the warband get-togethers, or maybe make them a little bit more enticing in a way.
I think making them game specific
I
is
still
kind
think
of a
that
good
we
idea.
need to focus on the bigger group first, like great company, because it's just so much easier to associate with a large group of people than a small group like this. And like, because if we were to have a great company competition, I'm sure that we would probably have a better turnout like than this one, because there's just so many people who are divided in so many different smaller fractions, and it's harder to associate people and identify who belongs to what, honestly.
Honestly, one difficulty that I've encountered throughout this competition is that, like, typically all the people who play the same games I play are in the same warband as me. So there's not really anything I can challenge other people on.
Yeah, that is, and that also, it was previously mentioned, to make warbands game specific, or that unfavored has become the Warframe warband. And I think that is all a bit it's kind of a problem where I think some of the officer corps have different visions for what they want warbands to be, and I think I have always set out that I didn't want them to be game specific at all. I wanted, because otherwise it becomes this point where they're just individual clans on games, and they're not really very interconnected, in my opinion. It's just kind of been my experience leading WA thus far, and WA's experience with its whole history is that you get these groups that become very insular and separate on a game, and they just leave. Like, it happens all the time, and I think the goal was to try to keep us all as interconnected as possible, and so the goal was to make warbands these units that aren't game specific at all. But a lot of people were transferring because they play the same game, or Huskarls were trying to make their warband built about a specific game because that's what they wanted to do. And it was only more recently that I think we had a discussion in the All thing where me and I think Solette and some others were saying, oh, actually, we want warbands to not be game specific. So I think part of the reason that has happened, and it is probably another negative impact on the Arnhurth, like Anarian was saying, is that, yes, a lot of people in individual warbands, they all play the same game and nobody else plays it, because that's kind of how people have been drifting, because they weren't aware that the vision I really had for them was for them not to be game specific. So yeah, I think in conclusion that is another problem, and perhaps we can look to transfer members or look at otherwise working with warbands somehow to make them less game specific, because it is really what I wanted to do, is not have them be game specific if possible, but somehow still have people care about them and have them have an identity and stuff like that. And some people have told me that is impossible. I think it's possible, but it's definitely difficult, and I'm not entirely sure how to do it.
I definitely have some ideas.
Best,
but, we can talk about those later.
Best.
Okay.
You said you wanted warbands to have their own kind of ranking system and their own type of ladder differentiating from house, where you actually have to work hard. You said that, right?
Well, that's what our ranks are, is their warband and great company ranks, basically. Houses don't really have ranks. Houses have a lord, and each family within a house has an earl, but it's not really a rank so much. It's sort of just an honorary title where they have some things like they can rename their family or make a coat of arms, that kind of thing. But really the bread and butter, what people who have actual power and responsibilities in the clan are with the ranks, which are with warbands and great companies, what they're associated with.
Oh, okay.
The thing that's hard for me is I don't have
the
that.
point where you mentioned where some people thought it's impossible. I kind of agree with that, because it's weird that you want to have a group of people who have nothing in common to have a shared identity. Just like I don't see how
you can have things in common other than just all playing the same game, is my belief, basically.
Like, hey, Numenor, do you have Galmir muted? Because every time Galmir has tried to talk, you've cut him off.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, I do.
I'm just saying. I just noticed it, and it just sounds bad every time.
Same. I was just about to mention.
Well,
Yeah.
I'll explain that.
I did. Sorry about that.
All I was saying is that I don't have a lot of games, and playing things in warbands is hard because I don't know a lot of people, and they don't have the same games as me, and just communicating is hard with other people who aren't interested.
But what wasn't that exactly the point that Vest's making? Is like he wants it so the warbands aren't game specific, so playing games with them isn't really necessary. Exactly, like you can still do things with your warband that don't require a game.
But like we're a gaming clan. What else am I supposed to do with them?
Well, for sure we're a gaming clan, but I think we're also trying to be more than that. A lot of people are just seeing us as strictly a gaming clan, where that's all we're going to be doing is playing games with each other, and that's all our interaction is games. Which the reason that it's a themed, I might have to mute myself. The reason that it's themed is so that there's more to it than just that. There's no reason that we're 1 second.
Yeah, I agree, and I think it's a really valid concern to say we don't play the same games. How can we be a cohesive unit? And I think almost certainly changes have to be made to achieve that goal, because it could be maybe we only need great companies, like Numenor is saying. If you have the larger group, it's easier to associate with that. Maybe we need to not have great companies and have fewer warbands, but have them like not be under an umbrella, like for each individual. I don't know, maybe something like that. You know, I'm open to a lot of solutions with it, but I think I agree with what Vibani said in that the hope is that WA is more than just people playing games, and that we can use that, you know, like the RP aspect, the history, the songs, the stories, all this extra stuff we have, hopefully to help people have something in common and share in something beyond the games, so that they can be part of a warband and feel together, even though they don't play the same game.
Well.
So what does everyone think of this? Because I'm kind of thinking on your behalf, Gal, because I see where you're coming from, and I see where they're coming from, and of course it's going to be very difficult to get everyone on the same page, playing the same stuff, doing the same things. One thing I noticed that we don't have, either I don't see it or it's just not happening, is actual warband get-togethers. Like we have Fireside, but when do we get together with our warband? I've never done that. I don't think anyone does. Maybe putting something like that on a schedule bi-weekly, you know, just getting the warband together. What are you guys up to for the next couple weeks? What kind of games do you guys have? You know, devote an hour to it. And the people who show up to those are going to be those main hitters and those warbands who are going to be active and are going to be fighting the other warbands and doing those things. And then you can kind of weed out the people who aren't so active. And so, I mean, I know you guys already do that with the roll call, but I'm talking about not just being active on the server, but being active for the warband conflicts and all that stuff.
I would like to second the idea of potentially doing warband meetings. I think that's a great idea.
I agree with the idea. The thing is, I have tried on several occasions to communicate with my my warband, and nobody responds. Nobody responds.
I don't doubt that at all.
Except for the berserkers and the few very active people, and they'll just make a snide comment.
I honestly don't see what the point of the meeting is. Because
okay.
If you don't have anything
Well,
in
here,
common.
let me say this. I think there needs to. So I kind of get where everyone's coming from. I think though, if there's to be any long-term or practical idea to a warband, it's either there just needs to be kind of an overhaul to them, or, you know, like what Binion a couple of says, as to what's the point of them. It's either there needs to be some more incentive to them, or they just need to not exist almost. I don't think there's a happy medium for them.
That's exactly what I said. There has to be incentive. Either that or we cut down the amount of warbands into 2 or 3 rather than the amount that we have now. That way that there will be more active people in each one. I know that's a pain because you guys have already put so much work into the others, but it just sounds to me like people aren't interested enough right now. We don't have the amount of people, especially during the summer, is always a slow time for any gaming community. And then, you know, if you want heads, you know, unfortunately, we're probably just gonna have to cut down or gauge interest, you know, one last time to see what happens, and then, you know, go from there.
And
so,
for me, I like the warbands because just about anyone I hang out with is in my warband. But obviously, I know everyone is not going to be like that because everyone hangs out with just about anyone.
Yeah.
But like, I agree with you when it says there needs to be something that like gets scouts involved, because that's going to be the biggest thing. Like the berserkers, the Huskarls, and like the other veteran members are probably already somewhat invested, or, you know, not invested. What they're like. They already know the rules. They know how it is. But the biggest thing is it's going to be about new blood. You need scouts that are going to be there. They're going to be interested in it. If
100%.
not, then there's just no point to have around. It's just like an old folks home for members.
It's just going to be a bunch of us guys who are on here every night anyways. And, you know, we might as well just make 2 groups and beat each other up, you know?
So if the warband isn't about, like, playing games with each other, then why is the warband specific like brawl head-to-head thing about games? Shouldn't it
It
be
is
about
about
something else?
it's
You don't
about
have to just do
playing
games. You can
games
do
with
whatever.
each other,
You can
but
challenge. You can challenge people to whatever. It's just like
Yeah.
There have been challenges where people have challenged another person to like a story writing competition. Like I think it was Vinia and Stein.
Steiner.
They had a lore writing competition. People just expect that it's to do with games. They're
well, and games are the easiest
literally
for most people.
all it says is challenge.
Maybe we should
Choose
communicate that more then,
I mean, it is
because
pretty.
I didn't even know that.
But in the last challenge, it was pretty expressly stated that you could challenge for whatever, though.
well, now you know, Gil. You learned something today.
Yay!
We had a game of concentration. It can literally be whatever you want.
Oh gosh, how about
But
those
that's exactly
stats?
it. Like I think the thing is, it's not wrong saying we're a gaming community, but it is kind of wrong saying we're a gaming community because we're trying to be more.
Purpose.
Yeah, because we're trying to be more than that, right? And then as soon as we say we're a gaming community, then I have to mute again. Fuck.
I think we mean the gaming establishment more than the gaming community is what he's trying to get
Not
at.
even. It's just an online community of people who want to be a part of WA Warriors of Acer and be a part of that. And gaming just happens to be one of the primary things we do together for fun. But there's movie night. There's a lot of other things. I think also getting people to show up to those other things, because gaming is very involved, right? When you're playing games, especially a lot of the games we play, Warframe, League of Legends, Rome, a lot of these games where you have to have constant attention, it's not something you can really talk a lot while playing. So you're not really going to get to know your people in your warband anyways. So I think encouraging people to show up to the hangouts or movie nights or, even... And I really think warband get-togethers, I know there are some people who don't feel like that will work because it hasn't worked before, but maybe just Vest and the higher-ups just kind of push it a little bit harder this time. Say, hey, guys, if you want to be a part of a warband, you kind of got to show up for this and give a lengthy amount of time, and just let us get some ground with that, because once the tires start spinning and you start going, it's, I just feel like everything's just spinning in place for what you guys want to do, and we just got to get people together.
Yeah, I definitely agree with what he says. It's just gonna be a matter of that. Like people who are already established here already know what's up, but it's definitely we have to get people who are new here to talk, because they'll join, talk for like I don't know, like 3 days, and then just be idle and get demoted down to guest or whatever. I think there's got to be a drawing factor for them to stick around, other than just like video games for sure.
I agree.
I actually kind of had an idea, kind of an idea about that. Well, I think one of the interesting things about WA that makes it different than other gaming clans is kind of like the lore that we have, and like the stories, like Ricky came back after 10 years, and people who weren't around when he was around knew who he was because they read the lore. And I think it's interesting for somebody to look back and be able to read our history, but also I don't think that there's enough draw to actually get into the lore or like learn the lore for the newer members. Like I don't know very much. I mean, I've only been here for like a month and a half, but I think that there should be something put in place that kind of introduces people to lore more, and like to make people want to ask questions or to make people want to look into it more.
I feel like right now you guys are trying to make warbands more like families than, because originally when I was working on the system, when they were still called squads instead of warbands, my idea was that it was just like you would assign all these people to one person who then is like their designated teacher in WA, where like if they have questions about whatever they weren't taught by their recruiter, this is the person that they should be like asking. And that was all what the the Huskar or whatever the leading the squad was do. So I think like since then it's shifted to like where warbands are now just supposed to be your family, which is kind of weird, because I feel like families can do a better job of not being all in one game and then still trying to keep these people interested in WA. So warbands seem just like a second redundant version of family.
I don't necessarily see a problem with it actually, because I kind of like the smaller war bands because I necessarily don't hang out with everyone from my house, but I do necessarily hang out with a majority of the people from my war band. Though it does feel tighter knit than houses, since houses have such a large amount of people in them, and to be honest, I mean this is just for my person. My war band chat is more active than my house chat, so.
My house chat is definitely more active than my warband chat.
I don't see house cohesivity at all, actually. I always see different, like when I come on and I'm going through the server and I'm clicking everyone's names to see whether they're deputy, commander, commander, however you say it. Sorry, I messed it up. I don't see anyone. I never see a group of deputies or a group of commanders or a group of Dane. I just don't ever see it. But I don't also see, the houses. I don't see the houses, and I don't see the war bands. So it's pretty much whatever people are playing right now. So, like I said, bringing it back. It's more important right now to have some sort of incentive or because if you guys want to do this, everyone has a different opinion about how they feel about the certain thing, but you either have to do it or you don't, and you have to come up with at least try to do it because everyone's just playing their one game that they like to play in their own channel, and that's what I'm seeing mostly. And that's what has to change if we want to do these things.
Well, we do recruit people off of that one game usually. That's also
but
the
this comes back to we need the incentive for them to stick around though.
Well, do you want to be a part of WA or do you want to play Warframe? If you want to be a part of WA, you join a house and you have them, you preach lore to them and stuff.
Let me say this though. I will say that the Warframe side has been very successful at getting people who want to stick around and play things outside of Warframe though. Like Lamas was recruited and definitely plays more than just Warframe. Like he's taking the active part. So, but I think too, like Peter said, the byproduct of that is that the warband then does become tailored to just that one game though.
Exactly.
But on the flip side too, like I play Warframe, but I also don't just strictly play Warframe. I play a lot of games, and like
I play multiple games with you. But how many of you are there? Like 3. You know what I'm saying?
That's kind of the point of why I think warbands should naturally just go to whatever game people are playing, and then focus more on families being the differential part, because people in families can just get recruited and not.
I love my fam.
That's fine, but I think too, and I mean someone's correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like that also like alienates some people if these war bands become for games that they don't necessarily play. It's like you get a Warframe one, you get a League one, you get like whatever other ones. And
but we could have one for mismatch. That's perfectly fine.
Like I feel not intentionally alienated sometimes, because like sometimes I feel like everybody only plays Warframe and League most of the time I'm on. Sometimes I get people to play StarCraft, but not much else. And that's in my warband and in my family and house. So I don't know. I think we should probably just try to focus recruitment even more on people who seem to be play multiple games or something.
Here's the thing too, though, is that this is also the problem. There's going to be certain things that are just out of WA's control. Like there's going to be a flavor of the month that is just going to dominate. Like back when I was in clans, Battlefield 4 came out or Battlefield 3, so that's what dominated the clans I was in. Like there's just you can't account for the game that comes out. Like when Dauntless came out, everyone was playing Dauntless. There were a few people who weren't playing Dauntless, and they probably felt alienated. But there's just gonna be, I think there's gonna be certain things that people in WA can't control. But at the same time too, I think if people are really dedicated to the game, like StarCraft or whatever, then they should probably try and find other like-minded people as well.
Yeah.
Because then if you find, if you get 10 people who play StarCraft in and one of them stays, that's still one extra person you can play StarCraft with, or whatever game you pick. Like it's it's disheartening and annoying to recruit a bunch of people and they don't stick around, don't commit. But if you happen to get like one person, then one person, it's not going to be easy, but you can definitely build a healthy body of people that play a game, just like Warframe or League for other games as well. But people have to be dedicated to it as well.
Yeah, exactly. And I think people who are dedicated to the clan will probably be more willing to play games other than what they were recruited on.
And the big thing too, I think, that just doesn't is you put in what you want out of this place, I guess, is a nice way to put it.
Exactly.
if you want to be super dedicated and put the time into it, then you put time into it, become a berserker, and so forth, and climb the ladder. If that's not what you want, then that's just not what you're here for. I mean, there's just gonna be people who are here to play games and they make great body for the clan, but they're not entirely invested in everything outside of that. And I mean, to me, that's fine because that's just the way it's gonna be. Like no matter where you go. But I think it's definitely about finding those dedicated people and then helping them establish a bigger repertoire with the games that they play, so that it's kind of inclusive to everyone. I mean, we're not going to be able to make everyone happy with every game, but if we can possibly expand the games that are played, not as much as like Warframe and League and a couple others, but enough that it is, I think.
Sorry, Talos. Just adding to what you're saying. We've all been mentioning all the same games over and over again. Warframe, League, StarCraft, like the big ones that we always have a lot of people playing here. But, there's a million games on Steam. Not all of them are free, but we're a multi-gaming clan, and it seems like everyone's always like, oh, is anyone playing Fortnite, or is anyone playing PUBG, or like all the big popular ones? If you said, oh, look, this small $5-10 game that I like, does anyone play it? I don't see a lot of people asking for those small games.
I've tried before to get people to play Team Fortress 2 with me, a free game on Steam.
Well, I think
and it has never worked out.
I think the problem with that, though, once again, is that is an older game that has a very niche community to it. And like I said, it's dominated by other flavors of the month that are newer and popular to it. I'm not saying Team Fortress isn't popular.
It's just burnt out, man.
Yeah, like TF2 is an older game, and I know a lot of people who own it on my Steam.
Just like me in Unreal Tournament, I still play thousands of hours, but not everyone likes it. And plus, if they play with me, I'm just going to shit on them. It's not going to be fun. So like, that's never going to happen, and I'm okay with it. You know what I mean?
And that's the problem I was talking about, is that there's not going to be a happy medium for people. There's just going to be things that happen in like the gaming world outside of WA that are just going to dictate like, all these new recruits coming in from like Pato's Reddit posts and stuff are probably not here to play Team Fortress 2. They're going to be playing what's flavorful on Reddit, most likely, if they're a Reddit user.
But going back, Gelmir, like, great, you tried. That's the best you can do. Maybe try again later when we've got new members. Maybe try another game. Like, everyone should be trying to find people for specific games. Like you can't control what people want to play, but you can at least try. If you don't try, you're not going to know. An example, like a small game like that, it's not competitive, it's not whatever. Ducky asked me with the summer sale if I could pick up Viscera Cleanup Detail. I decided to pick it up so we could play it together. When we're gonna play it, I was gonna ask, does anyone want to join in? Do you have this game? It's not free, but and it's a minor game. It's not competitive. It's just co-op, mindless, stupid fun. Try if you're feeling like playing a specific game, ask. Just ask.
I would love to spearhead that movement, but I also am a Mac user, so that's probably not.
Either way, my statement stands for everyone, not just you, Galmir. Just like, if there's a game you want to play, ask.
Yeah, I remember asking if anybody was. Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, also remember, like we just were talking about, this isn't just a gaming clan. So the more we hang out, movie night, other things, get-togethers, talk about writing, common interests, getting warbands together, the more you get to know someone, the more you're going to be dedicated to probably trying something new with them, just because you care about that person or you've built a relationship. There has to be.
I did start a D&D group with Rand and a couple other WA people.
It's been months in the making.
It's not been months in the making.
I mean, yeah, but that's a perfect example. Things like that. Like, if there are things outside of just video games, I mean, there are plenty of tabletop games. I mean, Tabletop Simulator is a great example, or like Roll20 or something. There are plenty of outside, like, there are plenty of things that people can participate in that don't have to be competitive. I think that's a big thing that we're focusing on too, is like, it's a lot of competitive things. Like, you don't have to be competitive in WA. Like, yeah, there are challenges for it and stuff, but you don't have to be like, oh, play League of Legends with me or whatever, like a super competitive game. Like, I think everyone can find something that makes them happy here if they look hard enough.
That's where I have trouble because I'm not like a huge competitive gamer, and
Yeah.
that's
I'm right there with
Stardew
you.
Valley, so.
I dislike PvP in most of its forms. So, I'm more of a co-op guy myself.
I'm the same way, honestly.
And I think that's a perfect example. I think if someone wants to start, perfect example. If someone wanted to start a Borderlands 2 playthrough or something with someone, I think that's great. I think people should promote wanting to play co-op games just as much as they want to play competitive games.
Ooh,
Everyone that just
about Left 4 Dead 2.
everyone that just spoke up that said that they like co-op games, you should be writing that down, hitting each other up after, and ask what kind of games you guys like, and that's kind of how you build the relationships.
Gary's mod.
Mention that
Gary's mod.
Every 24th.
I like co-op games a lot as well, just because I have a toddler and my life is
G-mod,
crazy, and
G-mod.
I like the chillness of PvE versus PvP these days, just because I can't take I'm just like a hardcore gamer, and I can't deal with the stress of even playing a competitive game in nature, because I get sucked right into the
Don't even
I
try to
decided to
get me
play a
play
chill game.
PvP during finals or something.
I think
gosh.
I think that's one of the problems too. Is a lot of this is a perfect example of people talking about it now, but I think a lot of people are, I don't want to say hesitant to talk about it, but feel like they see the pings in the meat hall and think only that game generally gets. And it doesn't, and it's just a lot of people don't know.
I pinged Fortnite and I didn't get any responses.
Well, once again, I
another
think that's
issue
just a
is-
matter of people not being recruited for that.
Another issue
Yeah.
is that we have
Fortnite's a very
people
young
playing too many games.
based game. It's very
It's
I
gonna
don't
die.
know a lot of people that play Fortnite.
Galmir, I actually play Fortnite with Fold once in a while, and it's just that every time I've seen your pings, I'm at work or asleep. So,
Well, stop being at work and stop sleeping.
yeah, my bad.
What did Numenor say?
I said that another issue is the problem is we have exactly what you guys keep saying. Flavor of the week is too many people want to play too many different games, and it's like, sometimes a Narion will ping me to go play StarCraft. I'm like, but I'm playing this with Kruzak. I'm playing Rome 2 with Kruzak and Soullight right now. It's like
That was a long time ago, just saying. You already
but
talked
I'm
to me
saying
about that.
You play a lot of Rome though, so about game diversity, I see you playing Rome Total War with one person almost consistently and regularly. So that's
I
your
haven't played-
gig. Just like Talos plays a crap ton of Warframe with his buddies. You know what I mean? There are people who have their staple. There's nothing
Yeah.
wrong with that. To take that away from someone, to take that joy that they have, that little bit of the day where they come on and they're away from their world and they get to play games with their friends. I don't think taking that away from anyone is good. That's why I think incentive is I can't push incentive more. There has to be some sort of idea to get people to walk away from it, to make it worth it. Because at the end of the day, we're all on here to spend our time, our free time, to enjoy it and to do the things we like to do. So
That's a very realistic take. I like that.
And I think back at the incentive too. It's to kind of go back to what Peta said, is that suggesting people play new games is great now, but I think people want to be, I don't want to say they want to be sold, but they want to make sure their money is worth it if they're going to be buying a game like that. And I think that's a lot of the reason things don't take off is because people.
And why would you buy a game to play it with
But
someone you don't
the
know
point
that well?
The point, that too.
Yeah.
That's, and I think people are content playing in their safety bubble almost. They've been playing this game, so they're going to play this game. But I think it's a little bit of trying to if you know the person enough, try and coax them out of their bubble, I guess.
Come on.
I mean, I played
play
Unreal
Slime Rancher.
I played Unreal Tournament with Goth, and I'm not
Anyone-
good at it, so.
If you really want more people to kind of play the game you're playing, then a little more incentive is just kind of recruit some people who are playing that game, you know?
That's 100%, but I think
I don't have my computer.
there should also be drive in WA if someone thinks it can see to try and convince people to play. If they think this game can work or it's in the best interest of the WA, I think that if someone is leading it, like Vape Bonnie with Dauntless, I think Vape Bonnie did a great job with leading the whole Dauntless thing for as long as it lasted. Shit ton of people played, shit ton of new people showed up. Some of those new people are still here. That's the point I'm making, is I think if someone finds a game, whether it be free or money or whatever, they should have a level of drive like that. And like I said, you recruit 20 people and 5 of them stick around. There's still 5 new people you have sticking around WA.
Dude, that's a great turnout. If you get 5 people to get involved in such a dense lore-based tight knit group like this, that's insane. 25% people biting and staying. That's that are willing to, learn the lore. That's great. Expect less than that, to be honest.
The biggest problem with trying to get people to play games is accessibility. Just again, like for me and Solite, when WA first started under Vesper's emperorship, me and Solite, we both played CK2, and tons of people now play Crusader Kings 2 because we kind of led that movement. But it mainly took off because Solite literally bought the game for a bunch of people. And that's just one of the things is a lot of people are not willing to play a new game because they can't afford it or they can't. And I think that's one of the things that people need to consider is like when you're trying to suggest a game to play, sometimes it can be grindy, sometimes it can be free, whatnot. But the problem is no one wants to go play like Guild Wars 2 all of a sudden because it's an MMORPG. It's gonna suck your life away for like months on end, or you're gonna need months of prep time before you even get to the fun part of the end game.
I would totally play Guild Wars 2
Some
again.
people it's the end game, but I mean,
yeah. So the problem here is like same thing with Solite really liked Age of Empires, and he literally got a bunch of people to play it because he literally just bought like 10 people the game straight up, and then
Wow.
two or three people who had the game already then joined in. Like Ofald had the game already, he then joined in. But that's the fact is like sometimes you can't just simply sit and like ping people and ask, hey, do you want to play this? Because obviously if it's just you and you're not really making any real initiative to get more people to play other than just asking, you're not going to get a lot of people.
I mean, yeah, that's the point I'm making is you need to have more incentive than just, hey, play with me.
Well, plus also be willing, if you want to play one game and no one's responding to your ping, join a channel where someone's playing something else and ask them why they play that game or what they're up to. A lot of times when I come on here, I'm just chatting with you guys. I'm not playing anything. I'm watching Twitch or I'm on Netflix or I'm listening to music and I'm just hanging out because I like people here.
I've never played with you, Goth, and I've talked to you much more than a lot of members here in voice.
That's why I'm here. I just like the community. I like getting to know people. I like sharing, my thing. But
and that's I said, it's what you put into it. It's like whatever you put in WA is what you get out of it.
Yeah.
Goth, we should talk more.
Yeah, I think I should talk with everyone in this room more. That's what I'm trying to say. If we all talk more and get to know each other, at the end of the day, we're all gonna, and it hurts me to see this because you guys put so much effort into the houses and the war bands, but I just see the idea going nowhere unless people actually take the time to get to know each other, be willing to try a different game, get off that Mac because you're not going to get anywhere with that.
I got tricked when I was like 12, okay?
Yeah, you got tricked, all right. I'm sorry. You see Master Race, but really, that's what it comes down to. It's just I have money, right? But I'm not going to spend my money on time spent away from my family on my off time to just play a game with people I barely know. But there are a couple people in this community I know well enough now to where they're like, hey man, do you want to try this game? Like when homeboy Ducky was like, yo, try running with rifles. I had talked to Ducky a bunch before that. I bought 5 copies because I felt like that was the right thing to do. And, I thought that I would have fun with it. Granted, I kind of blew off my own Tuesday thing there, but I also had my mother up here from Massachusetts, visiting from out of state, and I had forgotten. So that's my bad. My life's kind of crazy right now, but I would definitely show up for it next time, and then that's the thing is the more you get to know people, the more you'd be willing to try that other game. But also just remember, it's not just about the games. We gotta have more things going on for the war bands to, talk it out and see what we want to play and what we want to challenge other people to do. And I think it'll be more fun.
I agree.
I'll buy everyone 100 copies of Brawlhalla.
What is that
Funny
game?
because it's free.
Yeah, exactly.
I heard that it's like a free version
It's like
of
Smash
Super
Bros.
Smash.
Yep.
No, it's better than Smash Bros. In my opinion. I played Smash Bros. like 5 years of my life. I like it better.
Them's fighting words, bro.
That's
I'll
blasphemy, man.
I'll play it with you, Scad, but I've never even touched it. It's been in my library for like a year.
The thing is, once you get good, there's no way of you going easy on someone. Honestly, it's so.
Yeah, you either purposely die or you smash on them. Like there's no in between. It's
I
just
get
Yeah, there's
that.
no
I've
in
played
between.
I know
Smash
that.
Brothers
Once you
before, I
once
get
you
how it
once
is.
you one attack, you're like, okay, this is gonna go into a 0 to death combo. No way to stop. Honestly,
It's like me in UT 2004. I can play with just my mouse and I win. With against most people who don't play it. I only need my mouse. I don't even need my keyboard.
Probably play.
So, what game is this called again?
Brawlhalla.
Brawlhalla.
Yeah.
Brawlhalla.
And it ties very good into the freaking into our clan because it has like a crap ton of Norse lore and everything. Everything's super interesting if you're willing to invest the time into reading. I know it's reading. I'm sorry, but you have to invest time.
Also, I just remembered that TF2 has a co-op mode that I can totally play with people.
I'll play
Just
TF2.
saying.
Just trying to recruit, man.
I'll play TF2.
He's proselytizing. Oh, hail TF2.
Once I get my computer back, I'll play TF2 with you if you want.
Dude, I would play it, man.
I appreciate
I just can't I can't do it. I
Me and my friends will play. I bought the Steam Complete Pack, so CS:GO is on my list now. So everything once I get my computer fixed, which is gonna be forever. I don't know why, because I don't
know who plays Rocket League, but Rocket League is a super casual, fun game. It's
I'm up for it.
It's $10
Crossplay,
right now, and
crossplay.
it's crossplay. Yeah, I mean it's the best chance for people to get together if you want like a cross.
I'm up for it. I have it.
I can play Rocket League with you guys from my Switch.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I can play it from my PS4.
Rocket League
It's gonna be a Switch, PS4, PC crossplay.
What did you say, Ralph?
Can you is Rocket League can you play from different consoles
Yeah,
against each other?
you can play from PS4, PC,
It's
Switch.
the only thing those
and,
Japanese
Xbox.
dickheads allow. The only game where you can do crossplay.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Damn, that's exciting.
Sony is not allowing crossplay. I don't like it. H1Z1, you can't play with your friends. Destiny 2, nope, no PC.
Get new friends.
Get new friends.
You have like 30
No.
in this room, bro.
Wait, what are friends? Can somebody explain that to me?
A friend is someone that cares about you.
Friends,
and you care
friends
about
are
them.
people who you meet randomly and have something
Friend is
similar
someone
with that
who
you
doesn't
don't
have
care
a
about.
F is for friends that do things together. R is
Friendship, what a joke.
Press F to respect.
R is
friends.
for please don't be retards.
So
Oh my gosh.
we should definitely come up with an idea for getting more bands.
Maybe we
together.
should move on to the next topic.
Yeah, for sure.
Ness, is there
Yeah, I
anything
think we should. This is.
Yeah, we're getting derailed.
Nest, are you there?
else? Yeah, I'm trying to see what.
I am
I'm
here, yeah.
I'm
Maybe
judging
not,
time
guys.
by how many.
Don't let us
how
get
many
derailed. What's
games
next?
I'm going through. I've gone through 5 games on the same topic.
I would
So-
like to talk about movie night, if possible. So
Sure, yeah, go ahead.
yeah, sorry. There's this no one that shows up sometimes, and it's do we need to watch a different movie or
I told you
watch
last
it-
time, Numonor, it just can't be a series, and I'll join in.
I know I've asked people,
So-
and then no one still responds. to
Who
it.
knows? Raise of hands. Who knows when it is?
Friday.
Fridays.
I didn't
know.
even know there was a movie night.
And to be
Okay,
honest,
so like
I'm just,
3 people.
so I'm
Yeah.
throwing this
It
out there.
just seems
Friday
to
nights
happen
in
at
the
random
summer,
times.
It
Friday
happens
night
every
in the
week.
summer
Every
is
Not
week.
at all.
It's Friday night in the summer is the most busy night for almost any adult in the world. That's normally when people go out and do things. So I'm just
That's
throwing
because
that
you have a
out
life,
there.
Goth.
What's going on?
Yeah,
What's going
Most of
on?
us don't.
I'm
That's
sorry.
That's why we're holding movie night on.
Yeah,
Friday.
look at this guy bragging about his going outside.
Dude.
Go on, Numenor. You got something to say?
So, I just want to point out maybe this week we're gonna watch. I think Zulu Dawn. I don't know if you guys want to watch. that.
Emoji movie.
I think
Oh my
so.
goodness.
Is there just a movie randomly picked, or is there a voting process? 'Cause I think people would be able to vote what kind of movie they could watch.
I feel like
Well,
that's a good idea. If there was an elective process, I'd probably be more down for movie night.
Because I'll tell
We
you right now.
We
Because I'll
voted
tell you.
before.
Because I'll tell you right now, I don't mind watching that movie, but I
Do
guarantee
we
you,
want
majority
Shawshank
of the-
Redemption?
majority of those people in here will not want to watch that movie.
How do we watch these movies, by the way? Are we just supposed to
We
buy
saw-
them ourselves?
No, we sign up for a website called Rabbit, which allows whoever's hosting movie night, which is usually me, to find either a website or stream it off my computer, and it would just send all that stuff to you guys at the same time.
Okay,
So
cool.
If one of us like at any time chooses to grab the remote, we can pause it because like let's say we're like, hey, everybody needs to go take a 20-minute like potty break or something. There's whoever can.
20 minutes, dude. Jeez.
This is like the worst case scenario.
I think that's case specific. I think that's
Go to the bathroom, jerk one off, get some more popcorn, come back.
Oh my gosh.
Someone can go to the restroom.
You
Someone can
dirty
go
boy.
get some food, whatnot. It's just like that's the reason why we use Rabbit, because it's been perfectly in sync, and it has a chat room and all that, so where people can talk and if they want. So
People judge me. You never jerked off during a movie before?
For anyone,
Oh my gosh.
There are specific types of movies made for that.
guys,
Let's keep it clean.
guys,
yeah, this is recorded on Twitch, so we don't want to.
We don't want to get our High King banned. Just saying.
Oh, I have my own account. Don't worry.
everyone.
He's like, screw y'all.
Well, Tracy, I see. I know it's
I'm just using this to feed followers and subscribers to my own account.
So back on the topic, is the idea so people are keen at the idea of elective process for movies? Then is that what
Numenor did try it already, didn't you,
like,
Numenor?
We were like originally we voted, and then people all vote for Star Wars, and then for like 2 weeks straight, they all vote continuously watching Star Wars: The Clone Wars. And
well, then there should just be new. Then there should be a new rotation every week.
It's because it wasn't a movie. That's the only reason why I didn't show up or even vote. If we had like 3 or 4 movies, I'm sure people would show up.
I just think like 3 random movies should just be selected, and then every week it's just different movies. That way, I think that would give people more incentive. It's like, oh, a different set of options every time. Like,
I'd be super excited.
Yeah, one of the bigger issues I have also is because a lot of people said that they were gonna show up, but then they're like, remind me, and then I ping people, and it's like, the problem is I'm only pinging specific like 4 people.
A movie night roll then if they want to be that dedicated to it.
Yeah, so like there's just no way for me to like get the word around that hey, there's a movie night, because a lot of times someone will just randomly message me like, oh wait, dude, there's movie night tonight. I'm like, yeah.
I wouldn't mind a movie night roll then, so that's a very specific group of people that get pinged that want to watch movies. Then it's not like everyone's.
Why don't you make a movie night channel and then just have all the information on it and the movies and the voting done in there? Put polls.
That would be a great idea, and I'm all for that. I think the other thing is it needs to be advertised more, as in like what time it is, because half the time it happens, like I'm already doing something, and I can't just like stop what I'm doing and go to movie night because I already had plans.
It's on the calendar. It's like a set time every Friday.
I think Vest should.
it's on the
calendar.
Vest should actually order Domino's for everyone that attends, and we'll all come.
So
no, that would not work.
So let me just say this though, is I think it becomes a problem is once again incentive again, because I don't think a lot of people besides like the core group in here look at the calendar is becoming like does that to discredit anyone?
Think at everyone. Do it at everyone.
But I think
do that.
I think this kind of comes along the lines of what we talked about before, Vest, about just more clarity between people, kind of like with the instant reports thing we did.
We don't necessarily need a ping. I know Numenor doesn't have access to announcements, but we could put up an announcement post every week, like I do with Warframe, and then we would have the poll in there.
That's a good idea.
Because
did you guys ever actually gauge interest as a whole when you first came out with the idea? Like how many people want to do it definitely?
Yeah, there's a bunch of people who said yes, that this was a good idea. Yeah.
But were they just saying yes to be nice, or were they saying yes, maybe re?
No, they were saying yes and then completely forgot about when the time came.
Really? Yeah, that's the problem. Is like when there was one week where I literally pinged every single house, and we had like 10 people show up that night. Really? It was just like. The problem is just no one is aware of.
I don't know. I see forgetting as not caring, because if you care, you're gonna set a friggin' reminder on your phone and you're gonna be.
It's not caring. It's just being an adult and being.
It definitely is. You know what I mean?
Goth, sorry, but I'm kind of a dumbass like half of my life. I forget like my own birthday sometimes.
Can't count for stupid.
Same here.
I forgive anyone with their disabilities.
Because there's
Hey,
a lot of
hey,
people.
I'm not disabled.
But
There's a lot of people who I ping.
I'm just mentally challenged.
hold on.
Extremely.
Hold on. Let Numero talk.
There's like some people who I ping like each week, and then they instantly show up, but they just constantly forget. Like, hey, even though like that day, like 2 hours earlier, I didn't ping anything, I didn't say anything. They said that they were gonna show up, but then they just completely forget like 2 hours later. So it's just kind of random. It's like last week, I actually like didn't host it at all, and no one even asked me. Like I said I was gonna host it, but I fell asleep. I got back on at like 7:55, and no one asked me anything. I was like, okay, not like 8:10. I'm just gonna go back to bed because no one even.
Well, right now the only indication that it's an event is on the calendar, which, as we've just said, nobody really checks. I mean, the hardcore members, like I check. I'm sure all the other officers check.
I do because I just like calendars.
Great.
I forgot there was a calendar until someone mentioned it.
But
Wow.
it's the only place that it currently is
At
indicated.
everyone.
What are we talking about?
The movie night.
Yeah,
And the
free
calendar.
free
Okay.
pizza on Vest.
Okay, guys, can I say something? For the announcements, every server I'm in, every announcement they do add everyone. This is a server where we do announcements and we don't do anything. Literally.
We don't add everyone because we already had a huge discussion about that.
Yeah, we had a discussion about this. I personally feel like we shouldn't, for every announcement, we shouldn't add everyone because
Important
it's just really
announcement.
annoying. And then it's just like, then you're just like every other server who just constantly pings people, and then people will just
Plus,
mute
there's
the entire
people
server.
that could hardly give a fuck, to be honest.
Yeah, same.
Like,
It
there's
gets
a
a
lot of
notification.
The
a lot of
idea
people
is
that
that
are-
I only use the like I actually don't even post an announcement that often because my hope is that everyone will read everything in there. So I want to make
Yeah.
sure there's not too much to read, that it's just important stuff. So my hope is I don't have to ping everyone because the only stuff that's even announced, period, is important stuff that people would hopefully read.
I agree with that. I go on that channel sometimes and I'm
kinda
very
wanna-
overwhelmed, so that's why I miss things.
I just read every channel that has a message in it.
Yeah,
That's what I do.
generally do that too.
I do the same.
I want to deviate for a
I
second.
don't like that white bar next to any server, so I just read every channel in every server. Okay, sorry, whoever I interrupt.
Talos, go.
So I just want to deviate for a second to Vest. Was there anything that should be brought up at Fireside that was being talked about before, like or I just had the question of like, is night orders or anything else like still on the table being discussed or up for like debate?
So one thing I want to say, as the only one who can see every single house chat and every single warband chat, we were discussing that earlier about activity and how much participation there is. I would say that my observations have been House Dippity chat is basically dead all the time. Sorry guys, but we just don't really say anything in there. Commander chat, I think, is used more frequently, and there is some, like you guys were talking about how houses or families, whether or not they play together with one another. I think House Dane, their chat is the most active, and they do that quite a lot. However, House Commander, I think, is in the middle. I think they have so many people that they can't do it as much as House Dane can. They talk somewhat, but not as much. And I think, like I said, Dippity, just like nobody says anything there. Then for the warband, for the warband chats, most of the warband chats are pretty dead. I think since the Yarnhearth came out, and I've tried to talk on them some more, and I told the Huskarls to make these codexes and stuff, there's been a little bit more discussion. But mostly, I think Un's favorite is the main one. There's a lot of talking in. I think there's been one or two discussions in some of the other ones, but mostly Un's favorite a lot.
Well, if I may,
Un's favorite has been active at least for the past week or so. It's been talked about. There's at least been a message or a string of conversations. I see. Since last Friday, since last Friday, it's been continuously active.
If I may, if you take a quick look at the rosters of each warband, you'll start to see all the colors start to match up. This is especially true in Guardians of Ran. Now, now I'm gonna have to double whammy on Noon's favorite. You don't want to be known as the Warframe warband, but I'm gonna tell you what, you are known as the Commander warband. So, basically, the way that it's kind of gone is that your house chats are basically your functioning warband chats because everyone in your warband is also in your family or in your house. This is especially true for Haran's watchers and Noon's favored.
I don't
Yeah.
kind of agree with that because there's only about 3 active commanders that type in unsfavored. The rest is dippity between Chocolate, Diesel, and Ducky, and Soullight isn't even technically supposed to be in our channel. It's Fold, but Fold is perpetually on LOA because it doesn't have internet. But like the other people that are like any of the commanders that are in unsfavored, except for Fold and Otter, I have never seen them once.
But who do you like when you do all of your Warframe stuff? It's 90% commanders.
Mostly because Peter Akusa, but there's also Ducky and a couple others.
That's just how our system works. I recruit them; they're gonna be red.
Yeah, they really don't get a choice. They're just gonna be stuck in
We
red.
should
But
be
once
allowed
again-
to choose our houses.
Once again, that comes back to that no other person that plays Warframe, and there's plenty of Dippities and Danes that play, don't make the incentive to recruit though. So
Right. Yeah, but I was just saying like our warband chats are basically our house chats because most of our warbands are consisting of one house.
I agree. My warband, I talk to more people in my warband, and I was joking about this that I have a problem with the challenge because everyone I hang out with, I can't challenge like the house wars because they're all in my warband. It was like so. But yeah, I mean, I definitely feel. I mean, this is me personally. I feel more connected to my warband than I do my house because my house chat was dead since last Sunday.
And people who are in Kilroy, respect.
I just want
That's just me personally though, because unsfavored does get a lot of activity more than the other ones. So
Yeah, and also if those LOAs full of red.
I just want to mention that House Dippy chat is dead because we're all old members and we're kind of dispersed throughout all of W. I feel like a lot of other houses are having more activity in house chat.
Yeah, you want me to write your obituaries?
Honestly, Dippity is like, I don't know, what, 10 people? Or wait, no, Dippy's more. My bad. I was thinking of a different chat that was taken down.
Yeah, we have a lot of people. But
Dippity has a lot of people.
We have a lot of people, but we're just all members from like 6 or 7 years ago. We only had like 2 or 3 new people. So there's not much talking because we
recruit more.
I mean, I'm working on it.
I've recruited more people than 50% WA.
Would disagree, like, with that.
I've recruited 1 person.
I don't know if that's true.
I just want to point out a cool fact is we had a forum reset, and on the forums, we had it set up on February 9th, I believe, of 2009. And
2010, I believe.
2010? Yeah, sorry. 2010. Which I did like a little quick stat count of like how many people we had. Like I counted all the people based on number of pages of members we had on like 50 members per page. And we had however many pages, like around like 5,000 people who made forum accounts. I did not count the people who were on limited access, which meant that they hadn't been approved for the forums or they left the clan. And I purposely did not count the people who were banned, and I subtracted like 100 members for just in case duplicate accounts where people were sneaking back into WA or just had problems with their other accounts and made new ones, whatnot, and then banned them. And we had 4,500 people on the forum in a period of 4 years. That meant we recruited like 900 people per year. So it's like we don't really have an issue with recruitment. We have an issue with retention. So, like when I was an officer, when before Full Mather was even knighted, we had around like 150 people on the server. And as soon as Full Mather became knighted, we instantly jumped up from like 150 to like 300 people on the server. And we still maintained the exact same activity levels of like 20 or 30 people. So it's really like we're having a bad time with retention, not recruitment.
I am just going to hop in here. We're a little over an hour, so everyone totally can hang out, keep talking and everything, but I like to keep these at an hour just so people don't feel like they have to stay. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off the stream right now, but you guys can just keep going. But for anybody who is heading out, thanks for watching or showing up, and we'll see you next Thursday.
Bye.